Has there been anything that's just about broken you?
No, nothing will break me, ever.
Nimsdai Purja is a former Gurkha, a UK Special Forces soldier, and a record-breaking climber who was featured in the Netflix documentary 14 Peaks.
He continues to hold multiple world records. The fastest to climb the world's 5 highest mountains, the most 8,000 meter peaks in one season.
And Project Possible, scaling all 14 of the world's 8,000 meter peaks in just 6 months and 6 days.
Literally 50 meters below the summit, we found a climber. He was out of his oxygen and he was basically left by his team. We brought him down probably around 100 meters. Then we found another climber. He's basically flat out dying, and so I took the risk. And now we are bringing 2 people down. I'm going full on, full strength, full power to bring this 2 people as low as possible at the quickest time possible. As the sun starts to set, you normally see the head toes of people climbing up, but I didn't see any head torches, so straight away I was like,
wow.
That really showed me a true color of many human beings.
What are you looking for when you build a team?
I think what I look for is just the energy first. Does that person like you, and do you like him? Because you are going in this mission where literally anyone could die.
Nims is known for his resilience, his discipline, and his ability to push human limits. The Icon's a show where we learn life lessons from those who've achieved iconic success. And today I'm in a front row seat to learn what it actually takes to push the limits of what's possible.
So for those of you who've seen 14 Peaks, you may have a sense for what's coming in this conversation with Nimsdai Purja, but it's still going to blow your mind. I mean, what this guy does climbing mountains is just jaw-dropping. Nims, you've been a member of Britain's elite special forces. You've completed some most extraordinary mountaineering feats of all time. I mean, it's almost hard to put into context for someone who doesn't climb how hard that stuff is. But, 14 peaks in record time with and without oxygen, winter summit of K2. What would you say is the hardest thing you've ever done?
The hardest thing that I think I have ever done is the rescue of Kanchenjunga. So basically what had happened was we were on Dhaulagiri. It was the second mountain of the 14 peaks, Project Possible, because the weather was so tough on the mountain, and of course we were kind of going against the timeline for rest of the mountain as well. We keep continuously climbing for 5 days, pretty much with no sleep. It was really tough. And what happened was, like, we summited Dhaulagiri, no sleep at all. We got down to base camp in one push. We got picked up by helicopter that morning, because we got in, at the base camp of Dhaulagiri in the morning. So the helicopter picked us from Dhaulagiri base camp to Kathmandu via Pokhara. So we have got this huge amount of fatiguing, hard work, haven't slept for days, and then here I'm in Kathmandu. So at that point, I had no funds for the whole project. So there was a rich Chinese billionaire who said to me, Nims, I might go to Kanchenjunga. Do you want to come and hang out and have a chat? So I went to see him, even though I was so tired. I was supposed to be going to bed, but I was like, if this guy comes in, there's literally fun for the helicopter transfer. Of course, I can climb these mountains, and there's a fun for the other mountains. So I thought that way. So went to see him that night in Kathmandu. Obviously, and at that point, I was drinking heavily. So, we started drinking, and then from there, I straight went to the airport, jump into the chopper, and get dropped at Kanchenjunga base camp. And what happened there was, I literally changed into my summit gear, mountaineering gear. I put everything that I need into backpack. I still remember I was struggling to put my socks on. I was hungover and no sleep deprivations and all that. So, and it is important for me to tell this story as it is, so people understand why it was the hardest. So normally people go and sleep at Camp 1, and then they go to Camp 2, they sleep over there. They go to Camp 3, they sleep over there. The next day they go to Camp 4, and they kind of start summit push probably around 5 or 6 p.m. on Kanchenjunga, because the summit push is very long. They do that, but I wasn't doing any of that. I was just straight into the summit push in one go. And I still remember, because I used to take those snow and put under my armpit because I was falling asleep. And at one point, I was just shouting so loud, um, as I was climbing as well. So I stay awake, but then that lasts for 10 minutes. And even to this crazy thinking where I was like, Nims, you said that, you represent the human beings. You represent I said, like, when you say you talk about the human beings, I was thinking like, there are some really great humans who have done amazing stuff. Why you put their name into like jeopardy? Why you are like, then I start thinking about, you said you represent the Gurkhas, the special forces. Now you are bringing the same, why you had to. So I was kind of thinking everything that's going to work in my favor to make it accountable for the things that I say and I was doing. So anyway, and we went up there and we summited Kanchenjunga. And on the way down, literally 50 meters below the summit, we found a climber, Indian climber. He was out of his oxygen, and he was basically left by his guide, by his team. So straight away we went into the rescue mode, and we were three: myself, Mingma David, and Gisman. We three started to bring this guy down, and it's quite technical, because 50 meters below the summit of Kanchenjunga, the terrain is not that easy. I mean, it's quite hard to bring it down. So we three brought him down probably around 100 meters. Then we found another climber who is again in the same situation. He's basically flat out dying, and none of his team members were there. So yeah, again, like at that point, I gave my own personal oxygen, and the science is, if you already are climbing without oxygen, that means your body is acclimatized, your body is adjusting. But if you are climbing with oxygen and you come off the oxygen, that is completely different level. But probably if anybody does that, they will probably die as well. But obviously, I knew what my capabilities and my limitations were. So I took the risks and gave him the oxygen, and now we are bringing two people down. And it was a bright daylight when we started the first rescue. And as soon as we saw this person, the first thing I do is it's from the special forces. You establish the comms. You ask for help. So there were a lot of climbers at Camp 4. So of course, for three of us to do the rescue is quite tough. So I got on the radio and asked them for help. And even the guys at Camp 4, they responded and they said, okay, Nims, we're gonna come to help you. Don't worry. Even from their team members were at Camp 4 as well. Not only the rest of the climbers, but everybody was there. So even their team members, okay, we're gonna come up to support you. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, there are people coming up, so that means I don't put any reserve. I'm going full on, full strength, full power to bring these two people as low as possible at the quickest time possible. So that means you are giving 100%, right? But eventually, what happened was as the sun started to set, you normally see the head toes of people climbing up. You see that on the mountains, but I didn't see any head torches. So straight away, I was like, I started worrying because I was like, oh, these guys were supposed to be now really close to us, but now there's no head torches. That means no one has come. At this point, what happened was the first individual that we had rescued, he ran out of oxygen, and within 15 minutes of him out of the oxygen, because we don't have any oxygens now, this person died. Okay, so now at this point, Gesman was like, "Look, brother, I'm feeling really cold. My toes are getting really cold, and I'm at the verge of putting myself, into this situation. So I'll be liabilities. I really have to go down." So I said, "Okay, man. Like, please go down." So he left, and now it's me and Mingma David, trying to bring this another alive individual. And we're bringing him a bit down, and then probably David was there for me a couple of hours, and then he started feeling again cold, and I think to that point he started hallucinating as well. So he said again, Nimsdai, I cannot do this anymore. I'm gonna go. So now it just left me alone to do one-on-one rescue. So I'm bringing this guy to a point, where like it was so tough, but also I felt like why I was giving so much is like whenever I do anything or whenever I make any decisions in life, I always put myself in their shoes. So I was thinking, okay, if I was this guy, who's in this situation, then I have family, so I would not want somebody to just leave me here. So when I think like that, I kind of operate in different level with a different mindset. So I started doing the rescues continuous for hours. Now I can see Campo is pretty much, I would say, half an hour, less than half an hour away from where we were. But if I have to bring this person alone down to Camp 4, it will probably take me, I don't know, 3 hours or probably more because it's just myself dragging this guy. So at that point, I had to make the decision. I was like, okay, you stay here. You're not going to move anywhere. I'm just going to quickly run to Camp 4 and wake up your team members. If you're not your team members, there are other people, and I'm going to come to you. So I went down, but as I went down, then I found another climber who was lost. He was lost, and he was just like, basically he was hallucinating, and he was just like standing straight, but he was thinking that he was abseiling. So his hands were like, he was grabbing his own safety cord, and he was doing like this, and it's like, yeah, I'm going down. I was like, no, you're not going down. You are, So I grabbed him and I took him down to Campo and put him in the tent, and now I start screaming for help. Guys, there's a one guy. He's not even far, but nobody woke up, nobody, literally. But even before that, when I was alone and all that, I was on the radio constantly. Guys, all those people who answered, they turned their radio off and didn't respond. So I think at that point I was really really hurt, because all these people at Camp 4, could they have come and help us? Yes, absolutely. My whole, the suffering of my body was next level. So when I came to Camp 4, after screaming to everybody and all that, nobody was even waking up. Nobody even responding. I went to the tent and said, "Guys, please, no response." So I think that really showed me a true color of many human beings. And at that point, look, I'm not really easy to cry, but at this point I was crying on tears. I got my sat phone and I called my wife. So I keep continuing down, and I got to the base camp, and I went to the next mountain. But yeah, that's the hardest thing, perhaps, because of all those reasons.
Wow.
Yeah.
I find that, just in that story, so many of the elements of why what you do is fascinating to me. One is the feats, like what you're capable of doing. But then there's these moments of decisions too, where it's like, we're trying to break world records and there's somebody we can try to help save. And how do you make sense of that? And then built into that is this mindset of like, how do you keep going?
Well, the thing is, like, look, you can break all the world records and stuff, but if you are not humane, and if you are not that person, I don't see any value in that. I think, and then you are just self-centered. You don't care about what's happening around you. Everybody has their one life. It's not only you, everybody. And sometimes people are so driven by the records that they forget what it really means to be human. And people forget, what if that person was you? Just put yourself in their shoes, and all the answers comes in your face. It is not that hard. If you're that person who is going through that risky situation, who is like dying, and then if nobody helps you, how would you have felt? It's very simple. There's no hard rocket science in all this. It's just easy. Just ask that question, and the answer would be there. And if you were on that situation, if nobody helps, how would you have felt?
Wow. And for those who've never been on a mountain, those who've never, even dreamed about climbing Everest, You hear these stories and you're sitting here and you kind of put it in this way that feels like, oh, that's just, a difficult push. But how hard is this stuff? I mean, you're talking about people literally dying as you're doing this. Like, for someone who doesn't understand mountaineering, what does it take?
Look, I think the brutal reality is, of course, climbing mountain is difficult, but everything in life is difficult. Let's me be honest. Everything, everything is difficult, But yes, climbing mountain is tough, but it's not impossible. Everything, like for me, like Tyler, if you ask me to do what you do, it's the hardest thing for me, perhaps. But with the right expertise, you always need to do a due diligence 100%, because when things goes wrong, doesn't matter if you have got billions dollar and you are happy to spend that $1 billion, it's too late. It's too late. So if people do a homework that needs to be done prior you go on any climbing, Everest or anything else in life, and then you pick the right team and you go there, it's possible. No one can give 100% safety and success, but people can give 99.9, and that's what I do. If you want to come to Everest, I can make it happen, because you will not only have the right team, but also it's not about me and it's not about my speed, it's about you. Because I am the subject matter expert, right? If I go and let's say go on the car and then try to learn with Lewis Hamilton, for example, and if I go with his pace, I cannot do what he does. But he needs to adapt with the teaching abilities, capabilities. He needs to take me as a baby and then see what it works for me. So when I take anybody into mountains or any climbing, what I do is not about me, it's about them. It's about how they acclimatize, and it's about how they, whatever I need to adjust, either dial up or down in order to fit the requirement of that individual. So, and I think not everybody should be turned off by saying it's the difficult things and all that. There are so many difficult things in life, and with only those tough challenges and everything, we grow, and that's where we learn, And for me, the mountain is that environment where I find myself alive. We all live life, but are we alive? No, I don't think many people understand the difference between being alive and living the life. So, and also the nature is at its purest form in the mountains. There's nothing really that kind of like negativity that human beings um, pollute. It's just you, and there's no, yes, of course we have our own worries and our own challenges in life, but when you get over there, most of the things are put into perspective. Look, we really forget, when you are climbing at that really age, you don't worry about how much money I'm making, you don't worry about your mortgage, you don't worry about all these things, the noise, you just worry about how you're going to stay alive, and where it, and to be honest, I think that's what it all comes down to in life. You could have everything in the world, but if you don't have good health, it doesn't mean anything. But sometimes we just get dragged on this, I don't know, whatever we call that tunnel, where you forget the reality. So yeah, and I feel, the energy is good, the environment is good, the vibe is good, and it's fresh here. People say when it's like really howling wind and all that, they say, "Oh, Nimsa said it's fucking horrendous and all that." But I say, guys, it's a fresh air, guys, chill out, and they laugh. You can always turn any negative into positive.
And I think that that's what's also really interesting, that mindset flip that you can do. Where I've heard through like countless stories of what you've been involved in, projects you've been involved in, you bring this energy with you where it just feels like something else is possible. And then, Project Possible, where it's, you make people believe, and you've got a way of flipping your own mindset and other people's mindset. Like, how do you do that with your mindset?
Look, I think I'm going to tell you this. We have got Tenji. He's known as like IFMJ Tenji. He used to climb with Uli Stake and all that. He's probably the best guide in the world, number one. And of course, I traveled from mountains to mountain, guiding, and he was on Everest, and when I come there, it's like, Nimsdai, my God, we missed you. We missed the energy. Now you are here. We are ready. So I think what I really bring into the environment is the rawness. It's there's no like kind of filter. It is how it is. And also, if you don't enjoy, you shouldn't be there in the first place. So, and what it has probably made me successful until this stage is because I have a purpose in what I do. And the purpose is meaningful. Is you're not just saying that thing for the sake of saying it. You need to mean it. If you don't mean that what you are saying to the bone, then you cannot really push that hard. And also, look, I would like to say my one of the biggest aim right now with who I am is to be fair on people, everybody. Doesn't matter what race they came from, what background they came from, and all that. I just want to be fair on people. But because I know how it is to be on the other side of the road. Doesn't matter because every humans are humans. It is feeling. Doesn't matter you're white, black, brown, whatever it is. You all are humans. So I want to be that person who is fair on everything to everybody. That is my biggest aim and objective. The bigger game. But yeah, I think when I'm on any kind of mission and all that, I'm real. We can go furthermore on like K2 Winter, the mastermind where I brought all the 10 guys and all. I'm not just doing that. Because I meant it. People can talk at the sea level. Oh, I can share happiness, I can share glory and all that. It's good at talking, but when it's actually in your face, it's a different for people. But can you really put all those noise, all those social thing outside, and can you be honest and genuine? Only few people can do that. I have done that. I've proved it. It's not about me anymore. For me, when I joined the Gurkhas at the age of 18, that was about me and my family. That's like me trying to escape poverty from Nepal to look after my mother, specifically. Yes, that was. But once I joined the Gurkhas, after finding out, there is more special forces. There's even high level of, better than the Gurkhas. What they do is like, I was like, okay. So if the Gurkhas are the best soldier in the planet, yes, we are. But I think sometimes most of the Gurkhas didn't make it to special forces either because of the language barrier or the things that you didn't have the open mind to, because that was kind of a closed door to the Gurkhas. So when I first find out about this, like, yeah, I believe we are the best soldiers in the planet, but why no one is there? So from that point, I think I stopped thinking about myself. At that point, even like, if you look at the training regime I had done, that point, it's mental. Like waking up at 1 o'clock, carrying like 75 burden, fast step or running to the military camp. You get to the military camp, you have a breakfast, and you do extra military training. What that could be, either it could be assault race, or either that could be 6-miler run or 8-miler run. I still do that with the colleagues. And then I was with the building and structure finishes, basically labor job. So whole day of tiling, plastering. They finish that at 4 o'clock. Then I run again back that 20 kilometers clean fatigue. That means no bargain, just clean fatigue. I run to the house, have quick food. I go to the gym and I cycle 64, 65 kilometer on the static cycling machine. And then I go to the swimming pool and I do like front crawl on a 25-meter length swimming pool, 100 times non-stop. That's like my training evolution for 6 days, for 6 months. I never say I'm tired. I never say today it's really dark outside. There is snow. There is a black ice. I never said how my body is feeling and all that. I never said it because my purpose, even at that point, was to have the first Nepalese Gurkha in special boat service. So, and when I had this purpose, which was to represent the Gurkhas and the Nepalese, to open the barrier, I managed to go through all that. And if I'm being super honest now, I don't think I can do that what I did in a day, in a week now. I'm going to be honest. Let's see. Yeah, because I had the purpose there to represent, to kind of show the path. And even from that point, I said, I really, really stopped thinking about myself. It's always been the bigger purpose. And at that point, I said, if I get of course, you want to be in the special forces, but your wish, your desire is not enough. You have to pass the selection, So I was thinking, if I even pass this selection, if I'm good enough to do it, I'm even happy to work for free. And I meant it. I just need to buy. That was committed. So, and from that, it kind of led me into all this bigger purpose, and I'm and you can feel that to the bone, and that's why I say, if you really mean by what you say, what your purpose is, then you drive any further. Like, let's say nowadays, many people ask to me, Nims, how can I raise the money for this sponsorship, or how can I go and do this mission and all that? And I say, of course, you need to find the purpose. But sometimes people come with the fake purpose that doesn't really mean, You need to believe in that, and maybe other people believe or not is okay, but you need to believe in that. But many people come with the stuff that is good for social media, that's good for all this marketing thing. But no, you need to mean what you say, and that's only when it has the value.
And how do you, there's so many places I want to go with that answer,
Yeah.
but you're waking up at 1 a.m. and you've got this belief, this commitment to your purpose. What are you
I
actually
don't
telling
want to
yourself?
wake up though. I was so
I know,
tired.
but that's what I'm saying.
It's tough.
So how do you do it? Are you waking up saying, but there's a bigger purpose, or is it just that you've baked that into your DNA?
No, you got to break down, buddy. Yes, you have the purpose, but then you got to break it down. The big thing, the first thing you do is fucking commitment. Commitment is you get out of the bed and start putting your clothing. That is the commitment. We can all talk big things, but you need to commit. Without commitment, nothing happens. And in everything, of course, there's a big purpose, big goal, but breaking down into small things, commit. Without commitment, nothing happens. Anybody can do the talk, So yeah.
You brought it up a couple times. For anyone who hasn't seen 14 Peaks, the documentary, they have to watch it. I mean, it's just it sheds light on humanity in such an amazing way, not just through the feats, but through the way in which you do it. But you talk about team, and you take a moment in that documentary where you actually highlight each member of your team. And I know that representing Nepalese climbers was a big part of the mission. But tell me about teamwork.
Imagine this, okay, so you are making this documentary, which is which has got a very limited time, and there's so many story to cover, because a lot of people say, Nims, this is a series, 5-6 series, and then but I was like, even in that point, it was important for me to get and give recognitions for each team members, and for that, of course, I lost some of this stuff on my part, which is okay, but that was absolutely key, because that is the reality, that is the fact. They were part of my mission, and then it's not that when I decided to do this project, I had all these people lined up and all that. I just met them as I climb and pull them in, because I had no budget, so we're just like basically making things happen out of nowhere. And if I feel, when we're like, let's say on Annapurna, we are climbing there, and if I see somebody else with the right energy and mindset, I say, hey, do you want to be part of this? You will also, like, not only you're going to get paid well, but also you're going to be part of this amazing. And yeah, okay, so, and that goes down to who really I am and who I want to be. It's the fairness. I will tell you this. Look, 2019, during the Project Possible, I was on K2, and everybody give up. You can see this on 14 Peaks documentary. If you see the people's face, it looks like you have lost the biggest war in the battle, and then you are like those soldiers who lost the war, like captured. You can see in that movie how scared they were. So I came in, I changed the tide with the whole positivity, positive mindset, and I was saying, I'm gonna lead this from the front.
So when you pick a team, for example, because I think that oftentimes this is where it comes together or it doesn't. And so when you're finding these members, when you don't have resources to, put this big glossy project out, you're just trying to find people of like mind. What's more important? People who will operate with fairness, operate with that mindset, or are you looking for technical gifts? Or does it need to be both? Like, what are you looking for when you build a team?
I think what I look for is just the energy first. Does that person like you, and do you like him? That's the first important thing. because you are going in this mission where literally anyone could die. And that's the biggest thing for me. And what is the motive of that person? Does he also want to be part of that, or he's just doing for the money? It's really important. So yeah, first of all, I need to find the connections, and I can somehow, I don't know, I just feel that. And also, when the team sees you that you are operating from the front, and when you are right there, it is a different attitude, it's a different energy, rather than somebody leading it from the base camp and ask people, okay, go up and all that. It's a different thing. And until now, every expedition that I have been leading from the front. So yeah,
How do you train to do what you do?
I think, look, being really honest, I don't do any phys at all now, because I spent 11 months on the mountain, and I haven't been to gym for almost, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now.
Really?
But yeah, I don't need to, because I'm always there. So I'll tell you my routine, how it starts. January, I'm in Aconcagua. I lead the expedition to the highest mountain in South America. February is kind of my only free time, where I kind of look into the business to write books or whatever it is. Then kind of, from March, April, and May is Nepal, 1,000-meter peak, Annapurna, Dhaulagiri, Everest, let's say Kanchenjunga, Makalu, then June, July, Pakistan. Last time I was in Pakistan, where I was leading the expeditions, without oxygen, and we did all five 8,000-meter peak of Pakistan, Nanga Parbat, G1, G2, Broad Peak, and K2 in 26 days. Then August comes in, and in August, this is where I guide in Kilimanjaro. It's a basically hike up mountains, but we want to bring newcomers to the mountains. So anybody can join on this trip. They don't only learn about the basic fundamentals of high altitude mountaineering, but they also learn about kind of mindset, what you need. So I have loads of a client ranging from different age and group and all that coming into that trip. So I do that. And then in September, October, November is either Manaslu, Choyu, Sisapangma, and Amadablam. And we also do skydiving in October. So basically, we jump from 23,000 feet with oxygen. And as a free fall, you see Everest, let's say Makalu. And then you kind of land at Sangboche, which is, I think, 10,000 feet. So basically, we landed where you normally jump, at the normal drop zone or whatever. Then November and December, I'm in Antarctica. I guide in Mount Vinson, and we ski the last degree as well. And in between, I also run many business. So I run the clothing. So obviously we have the foundation, which is the biggest thing. And if you see all my team, all my feedbacks are, like, specifically with the clothing, it will be like, if I like, guys, this is not right, because, like, and I'm walking from, let's say, like Cam 1 to Cam 2 or 2 to 3, or even I'm at South Col, 8,000 meters. I give them like the feedback, guys, this is what I find out and all that. So the team will be like, I thought we're not gonna hear from him for days, but he's like, constantly on us. And I think that's also what it motivates my team to kind of, push on, like, bloody hell, Nims is out there on the mountain. He's like, he's working, So here we need to push more. So I think, yeah, to answer your question, I'm always on the mountain. I'm mountain fit at the moment, so I don't need to train. It's okay. It's okay.
And I think, we've touched on bits and pieces. Probably those who know your story, and those
Yeah.
who don't are recognizing, okay, there was a kind of a military background. There's obviously this climbing background. That's surprising, because you weren't born on the mountains, or you didn't grow up on the mountains.
I didn't even grow up in the mountains. I wasn't even born on the mountains, and I grew up in the most flat and the warmest part of Nepal. And the thing is, I didn't even started hiking, as in, like, going to trek to base camp and all that, until I was 30 years old. At the age of 30, because I was tired and a bit embarrassed of saying to those people, when I was traveling around the world with my Special Forces tax group, when they see like a brown guy, well, all my colleagues are, like, white guys and all that, and they say, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Nepal. And believe me, some people wouldn't know where Nepal is and what Nepal is. And I say, do you know Mount Everest? And they were like, yeah. And they would say, have you climbed it, or have you seen it? I was like, no. So I was embarrassed. And at that point, I decided to go to Nepal, just to say that I have seen the Everest base camp. I've seen the Everest from the Everest base camp, but then, and it changed everything. So I think the biggest takeaway from this is, it's never too late to start anything new. Now I don't know how many world records I have, but I'm sure more than dozens of world records and all that. And I'm still leading from the front. So yeah, so it's never too late, I guess. But it's all that just to say that, yeah, I have seen Everest base, Everest, from the base camp. I went to the base camp. It was, yeah.
So one of the things that I've heard about yours, what you've done the last little while, is that every 8,000 meter peak had been summited in the winter, except K2, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
That it's an animal.
Yeah.
And your team just did it. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. I think this the whole story and the mission came to me specifically to my attention was when I realized that the Nepalese climbers had no name in any winter ascent. So that's when I realized, okay, we have to at least have one winter ascent of 1,000 meters to our name. And the second one was to be again fair with the rest of the world and how the narratives are made. We have never said that we are best in rock climbing, we are best in 6,000 meters, but we are best at 1,000 meters. That is our playground, and there's no competition, literally no competition with anybody in the world. The Sherpas, the Nepalese communities are the best. So we just wanted to do the justice. So imagine, like what happened that time was my team from 14 Peaks they were broken apart. So when I came into K2, I had to put completely new team. And I also knew that everyone from the world who called themselves they are the best mountaineer were there at the base camp. So now it's a race for either your name, race for the country's reputations, and it's the biggest race in the world, in the toughest extreme environment. So it always happened that somebody from the West, they put one article out, whatever, it dominates everything. And many things people don't know the fact. So I just wanted to have a very clean cut and in the fairest manner. So, and also when I did the 14 peaks, the Western climbers start criticizing me. Oh, he did with oxygen and all that. This. Um, so there are a lot of things in my head as a leader, but also for me, the key thing was how do I do this in the most fairest, safest, and in a unique style. So it was like that, and I was like, how do I put my team first? So. And when I did and Mingmaji has got a huge role. He was from another team member. We kind of got together, and during the summit, because we're on this table, I did the weather brief, everything, and I said to the team members, "Look, guys, although you all have been paid here to be on these expeditions, and normally there's always one person who goes at the top, but this is not going to happen here. Here, everybody will go at the same point. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop 10 meters from the summit, and we're going to go together, right? But of course, there's so many uncertainties. Like, what if the more I got into the business and guiding industry, I realized that so many things happens. Somebody could be manipulated, some could be paid extra to just run it first, and he get all the name and everything. You don't know. So I had to be at the front to control all that. But how do I do that? And imagine I was the only person who was climbing without oxygen. But long story short, we managed to summit together, 10 of us, and I think that was one of the most beautiful thing I ever experienced, because when we walked together on the summit, I could feel the energy of the each team members, each guys, because it was genuine. It was genuine. That the happiness was equally shared. The name was equally distributed among the team members. Everybody has the same name and glory and equal success, right? So I think that was the most beautiful part. Of course, I was blamed for so many things later on. I was blamed that Nims fixed 2 lines to the summit of K2. So that's why all these climbers died. I wasn't even in the mountain. I left 2 weeks before. 2 weeks. As soon as we finished, we are gone. But people died after we left the mountain, and they were saying that, okay, all these climbers died because Nims put 2 lines. They even blame me like, oh, Nims carried 2 ropes. One went, who can carry 2 ropes in a 300, 3 kilometers of rope? How much that weigh, You cannot even carry extra iPhone there, So people were blaming that, I take 2 ropes, one went into crevasse. That's where the people, I had to live with so much horrific stuff, Hopefully, that will all get revealed in my book, and perhaps in the documentary, certainly. But I think that the success here, getting into team and everything, how I make it work is I believe in the fairness, and there was everything for everybody in the team members. Not just one person was getting everything and others was just part of the team. This is when it works. When you become fair with the team, many things happen magically. And I had to wait for 6 months. I didn't even go on the mountains, because if I go on the mountain, how people say, like Nims went on the mountain to remove the evidence of those people who died. So I didn't even went to the mountains. I had to leave. They even accused me of, like Ali Satpara died, and he was my dear friend. People don't know things like I gave him my heated gloves. I gave him my heated socks. And maybe for people, oh, it's only heated socks and heated gloves. No, it's not. It's your life. At the base camp, when the situations is bad, when the conditions are bad, if you even pay $1 billion, your heated gloves and socks will not come on time. It's the price of your life that you have given. I had given him that. So when the bad weather happened and where all my stuff at Camp 2 was destroyed, I didn't went to Ali and say, Ali, give my gloves, give my heated. I didn't tell him that, because he had this hope, a hope that where he was thinking, okay, I'm going to go and summit with this. He's a poor fellow from Pakistan, really good climber, but he had a hope, and I didn't want it to break his hope. I'm a man of my word. Once I give. I don't ask, okay, give it to me. I didn't do that. And I went and climbed with what I had. But people didn't know this and stuff, but they would accuse me of murder, all that. And I had to wait until 6 months. I didn't even went to the mountains. And thankfully, the rope that we had fixed was all the way to the top. And they found all these climbers were dead on the rope attached. But I had to live with that. How much painful is that, living with the accusations of murdering your own friend for whom you had given almost your life? It's when you're at the top, Tyler, it's hard. People don't see this. People don't see what their false accusations could affect someone's life. Of course, I've been trained in the Gurkhas. I have been made in the special forces, but also I'm human. I have got this amazing, incredible skills to box it off, and I can kill it. I can kill it, but it also hurt me.
I find, it's many people ask what's the biggest thing you've learned from having these conversations with people who do extraordinary things, icons. And I would say that emotion is the biggest takeaway for me, that, everyone that we talk to has done something extraordinary. They've got the ability to do that. And I keep thinking what I'm going to learn is the skills they have to do it. But what they actually teach me is that with that success comes such a cost.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
And to not just do it once and then peter out, but to do it over and over again, you got to keep fighting through that cost.
Yeah.
Has there been anything that's just about broken you?
No, nothing will break me, ever. You can try, but nothing, because I know who I am. You can lie the whole world, but you can never lie yourself. And I know who I am. So no, I'm unbreakable, buddy. I am. And I tell you that in your face.
Wow.
If
you were to send a message to somebody, you've got this gift physically, but also this mental gift to commit, believe, go, do. A lot of people aren't in that zone right now. They're struggling at home. They've got something that feels like it's just in the way. If you were to talk to somebody who feels like they're stuck in life, what would you say to that person?
You just need to commit. The biggest thing is people talk about all this plan and everything. And look, when I was doing fundraising for the project possible, it was the hardest thing. It was the most hardest thing I have ever done in terms of that, because you're literally hitting the brick wall.
And nobody knows you at that stage in terms of, notoriety.
Nobody know who his names, and he comes with this. Even Red Bull told me that, okay, your mission is like you saying that you're going to swim to the moon. So like, no, you're not breaking through, but it's the consistency. I went every day, and also, but you cannot ask from everybody if you are not. You say, okay, let me tell you this. I came with the project that it's not about me. I truly 100% believe that is for the Nepalese climbing community, to raise the name of the Nepalese climbers, but also equally in parallel to show the world that literally nothing is impossible. Two parallel I believe in, through and through. So in terms of fundraising, when I'm going for all these things, I also understand that what is my contribution. Your word and your time is not enough. So of course I did sold my house, only house that I had, it that I saved from putting my life on the line, on the front line. I fight so many war. I was shot. I put that house that I have learned from my blood, sweat and tears into the project, because if you can, I believe in myself 100%. So that's why I was able to do that. You need to have some sort of contribution as well. You need to. And then that's when people believe in you. And also, yes, you can have all this idea, all these things that you want to be, but you need to commit. You need to start working on it. You cannot be successful by laying in your couch, laying in a bed and watching TVs and stuff, your socials and all that. No, you cannot. Do something. Okay, if you are not kind of gaining that direction, at least wake up, go for some walk, some run, maintain your fitness, maintain your health, and many things. I come with so many ideas in my look. We launched this clothing brand that I believe it's going to be the one-stop shop for everything. When I was in the special forces, I have one waterproof jacket to survive the sideways rain of the UK, because it's horrible, right? Then when you go and do the ski, then you need to have another jacket, waterproof jacket, that's fit for ski purpose, with the ski pockets and all that. Then when you go into high altitude, because every weight matters, you need to have something very light. So you end up with 3 jackets. It's not good for, it's going to be garbage in your house, it's not good for environment. So I came with this idea where I can put all this together and make one. So when I'm like climbing, when I'm there, I come with the idea, okay, this is not good. This. So, sometimes all my ideas come from actually when I'm working out or I'm doing things. I was swimming, the other day, I think I was going for like, non-stop for an hour plus, just to see if I still got it. I still got it, by the way. So, and that's when, I'm thinking, what can I do? And most of this, extra leverage come when you maintain that, So, keep doing things and just be, it doesn't happen today, so what? It doesn't happen tomorrow, what? It doesn't happen 1 year, 2 years, so what? Keep doing that. You will eventually break through. But do you have that in you to keep going and going and going, even though there's no result? It's like, okay, when you are when you're in the military, like the DS, directing staff, especially in special forces, when you go through the selection, if you are only working when somebody is watching, you're not fit for the team, and people will know this. That's why all the DS, they are hiding everywhere else, and they're watching you. Are you a DS watcher? So now coming into, I'm trying to relate what I learned from the special forces into civilian. So now if you are like only oriented about the result, and you are like thinking, no, don't care about that. Just keep going. And you are working in that pace when no one is looking at you, when there's no result, but you are going, and you will eventually break through. Yes, you will. I believe in that. I've seen it. So yeah, just doesn't matter what it takes, how many years, just keep going, keep doing that. But do you have that in you to do like that? You cannot blame others. First of all, let's get ourselves sorted.
What's different though, I mean, because I think that's clarifying. I mean, you've got lots of ideas. A lot of people have lots of ideas, but somehow you can break that down and then you can commit to it and take those steps. Where your steps lead you though is to the highest risk places in the world. Like this is life or death. How do you balance? Are you still that risk? Like, do you still take that kind of risk? How do you balance risk?
I will tell you one story. Okay, it's a bit crazy. So before, I have never done any skydiving. Never. Okay. So one of my friends asked me, Nims, do you want to jump? And I was like, yeah. So what I did was I called my buddy. He's like, mate, I'm jumping, man. Can you quickly run me through? So we're doing a video call. And he said, Nims, okay, this is how you set the Shipra setting. And once you go, you arch, make yourself very stable and pull. That was it. I went and I jumped. And of course, I landed. Don't do this, guys. Never do this. Now, I have done so many jumps and stuff. I'm fully qualified, all that. Then now, I remember the other week, I was like, is everything okay? Is my risk good? I think it's because now I also have a daughter. But not only that, I have a huge responsibility in my shoulders. Like, we are building this porterhouse, which I'll get a bit more into details. So many people have left their career and job and come into my, team Nimsdai. And genuinely, I'm one piece, when there was a flood in Pakistan, we had more than 10,000 people. Okay. I sponsor more than dozen of climbers putting $500,000, not because I had the money, or not that I have so much money in my bank account, but I was like, I had the money to give them, but I empty my bank balance to support them, thinking if I need the money, I can go and do a few more speaking gigs, or I can do more work because I have the opportunity. But whereas these people didn't had it, I used to believe like that. And now even going into, let's say, porterhouse, look, for last 70 years, the Himalayan guiding industry has been there. Did anybody did anything about it? Absolutely not. I came into the business industry maybe now 5 years or 6 years. But I'm making the changes, and the big thing is everybody can say by the word like, oh, porters are the backbone of Everest. They are the hero of climbing. But what action have we done? It's all yap talking. So look, and it's also about feeling respected and how I would like to be treated if I was really poor guy, and I told you the story about, when I was with the Gurkhas, I was prepared to give my life, and I always go into the front assault and at the front of the battle. That's because it's the brand, it's the reputations I care about, it's the legacy I care about. So now you think, where everybody goes during the trek to Everest Base Camp, you go on days of trekking, and there's a village, Feruche here, and this is Lobuche, and this is the end village. So from Feruche, they trek 6-7 hours, they get there. But in this Lobuche, they don't have the accommodation there for the porters. Everybody can sleep, all the clients, but the porters have to come down here and they sleep here. I think it's a humiliating thing. It's a humiliating thing, So, through the Nimsdai Foundation, now we are building the porter house here. So that means when porter comes over there, they will be given hot water. They feel like they're respected. People need respect in everything. Doesn't matter what your background is, everything. And when they feel like that, they feel like, okay, I'm probably the least paid person in the world, but I'm living with dignity, honor, and respect. It's like that. So, and I think I'm one of a kind in this world, and I believe in that. So I think my existence is 100% necessary. So hence why I'm thinking all these things like, it's only about me now. As I said, I fought so many wars where I didn't give a damn shit about anything. I'm at the front, because that's who I am. But now, because I have got so much on my shoulders, and how many it would take, I don't know, God knows how many years to have another Nims, who has born from very humbling family, because people need to be grounded as well. Me and my mother used to go in the forest to collect the woods. We sell that in the brick factory and make some money. From that point to be in the Gurkhas, where you are taught about honesty, integrity, loyalty, bravery. I grew up in the Gurkhas and Special Forces. From there, going into Special Forces, I went to university. I learned all this and all that, and I still have that clear heart of giveaway. It will take a lot to have individual like that, and a person who is also very vocal about things. So now I need to even look after myself more for the people, for the things that I do, and that's what it gives me a bit worried now. I'm a bit like, okay, have I? It's not about me anymore. But yeah, having said that, will I stop it? I don't think so, because that's in the DNA. But I would be a bit more cautious for sure. Yeah.
It was interesting doing the research for this interview. I was trying to figure out how. I mean, I work out. I've done that consistently for 20 years. It's in my DNA. But there's a different level between staying fit and waking up at 1 a.m. running 20 kilometers.
Yeah.
And I kept asking this question, how is it possible? And I felt like I didn't know what the answer would be, but my impression from having this conversation is that what's driven you almost more than anything else is this like moral code, this like true north. And because you believe in that moral code so much, you need to show up this way, or you need to operate this way. It's really interesting that it feels like that moral code has been the driver of this unbelievable set of physical feats.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That's very fair.
Wow.
I believe, there is always someone who is stronger than you, who is smarter than you, who is more capable than you. And it is always the case. Every records are there to be broken. But sometimes, somebody have to show the path. And somehow I have got this amazing ideas and initiative that I can show the path. And that's what the 14 Peaks is about. Now, before, people used to climb 1,000-meter peak in a season, maybe 2 or 3 in the whole year. But now people are climbing all 14 of them. Even my record is broken. People are climbing, like 6,000-8,000-meter peak in a season. That's it. Even now, within the Special Forces, at that point, we had only probably, I don't know, in SBS, I was the only one. Then another guy came in SAS, only handful. But now we have got a huge number of Gurkhas within the UK Special Forces, because those guys were certainly capable. Sometimes they don't think that they can do it, but when they see someone who they can relate to has done it, then people kind of come and do that even more better, more fancy, more cooler way. One of the Gurkha literally broke the record for whole of the endurance race. He was the first. So it's about showing the path, I think, and that's what somehow I have that. And it's the imagination thing, right? I have been able to imagine that and put into perspective. Many people don't imagine things like that, and somehow, and it's good for humanity. It's good for everybody else, So that's what I believe in, and then my cause, my belief, yeah, as you said, it's been pivotal key to everything that who I am and what I have been doing. And as I said, it's really important for me to stay alive, is because I can dial down from literally nothing. For people, people also call me arrogant. Yes, if you come and speak to me nicely, I can be the most nicest person in the world. But if you come and start big timing in front of me, and if you come and start like, I was like, who the fuck are you? What have you fucking done, man? Go and, screw the knot. I've done probably more war than you have, I've done all this, so I can dial there and there. So my tone can vary from the person from here to here. And I have that. And I'm so lucky to be able to have that experience, because there's also humility, but there's also like full on, I can put people into their shoes if I need to. Not everybody can do that. And hence why I'm also vocal on many things, and it is important for the community. So that's why my existence is necessary. I believe that.
What's the lesson that took you the longest to learn?
Wow. At the age of 18, I joined the Gurkhas. Okay, then you are taught about everything in a military style. You say honestly, openly, then even more into Special Forces. That's even more like fine-tune everything, right? But then when I get into the civilian, if you say, okay, this is your weakness, people get offended. in civilian world, everything is diplomatic, and that's what it took me the longest to do the transition. Before I used to say how it is, but now I need to be careful. I have to say that in a nicer way. But it's simply because I wasn't educated in that way, and not everybody has got this huge amount to learn. And for me, like, if somebody says that, Nims, you're shit at that one, that is your weakness, and I would be more thankful for that, because sometimes we don't even know what our mistake is, because everybody thinks that everybody is good. No, every individual think they are the best, but no. If somebody says that and I look it into that one, and it is backed by the logical points, and I'm like, thank you, because now I can straight work into it, because sometimes people don't even find their weakness for many years. Many years. That is also a waste of time. But if somebody is not wasting your time by saying you direct, you should be more appreciative. But civilian world doesn't work like that, and many things. So yeah, I think the transition wasn't really well on my perspective, because 2019, I left the career, went straight into 14 Peaks, did it superstar, and I just start saying people how it is. I haven't said to some of the millionaires in my base camp, like, you know what, listen, if you're disrespectful like this, I can literally fucking refund all your money. You can fuck off from this base camp. And that doesn't work well. I could have said, hey, buddy, like, this is how we used it, a bit more nicer, in hindsight, yes, absolutely, I could have done that, and that's when people hold the grudge and everything, and that's why I had to go through so many issues. Yeah, so I think that's the one thing the transition bit was tough, But again, I grew up in the British military, special forces, Gurkhas for 16 years. I've been taught how to be direct, honest, and all that. So yeah.
I mean, I'm going to not capture all the details here, but, grew up in poverty, became a Gurkha, first member of the special forces,
yeah,
as a Nepalese soldier, then gets into mountaineering, 14 peaks with and without oxygen, K2 summit. I mean, this is an extraordinary body of work. What do you hope your legacy is?
I don't know that. I'm going to be very honest. I don't know. I think I just keep doing it, and I'm not at that point to think about my legacy. If I'm being very honest, I got a lot to do. So yeah, I'll keep doing, and then hopefully that will dictate what my legacy is. I'm sorry I couldn't answer that question. It's just like, being honest there. Yeah.
That's the answer. That's the answer. What's next for you?
Okay, so what I did was I announced the hat trick project. So that is 3 times the summit of 14 8,000-meter peaks, and the 7 summits. When I say 7 summits, it's the highest mountain of each continent. So, and this project is pretty much, perhaps, I think it will be my final kind of mountaineering project. And then it's a project with 100% give back. I'm trying to raise £1 million through this endeavor, and none of that money raised will go towards funding, my climbing project. My climbing project will be covered by our guiding company, so everything will go towards the charity, the Nimsdai Foundation, and it allows us to operate and help the people who really need the help right there in face to face, because we are there. We're at the very frontier of everything, and the foundation covers, the 3 pillars. The first one is, of course, the whole of the mountaineering community. So basically, if any Sherpa dies on the mountain and they have the children who needs to go to school and they don't have the funds, we support them for them to go to school. We do that. And also, if something happens, we also look after their spouse as well. But also, like, building such things like porterhouse. It's not. To be honest, I don't know why. In last year of 70 plus years of the history, why I got to do this, because I'm there, and I'll do it. But people need to see the difference. So again, helping people in Pakistan. Helping those people who are extremely talented, but they don't have stuff, like the funds and stuff. We look into that. The second is, I came from the military background, so many of our friends who went into the war, doesn't come home exactly the same way they left the country. So, we kind of support them through adventure. So I feel like when people go for any of this adventure, that the adventure put into perspective. So let's say, like you have so many things in this developed countries. Let's say England, you click one thing, the gas is there. You turn the water, there's a drinking water. Click that, there's electricity. It's all there, but it's still, sometimes we think that we don't have many things. We still desire, but when you go on the trekking, for example, to Everest Base Camp, you'll see a porter who is carrying the heaviest weight. He's so much working hard. He's literally living off only $15 a day, and he's probably the most happiest person. Sometimes people also need to relate, and the environment, the spirituality you feel, the culture and everything, it gives you. Sometimes people need to experience that to, hey, okay, so we do that. The other part is like, I'm the big advocate for, the climate change. The glaciers are melting in the Himalayas, massively. I have seen firsthand through. So, I'm trying to raise the awareness and also like, do things. So, and then when I came to with all these free panels to the charity commission, they were like, who is this guy? It's one pillar is a charity itself. But he's coming in, and they found out it's a Nimsdai Purja. Like, oh, we cannot tell this man that it's not possible.
That's right.
So there's
That's the brand now.
and they commission it. So 100% goes to this incredible work that our foundation is doing, and then it's because we are there. We're making the changes immediately. So yeah, that's probably the last project. We see that, and it's the first of its own kind. No one has ever done this, and it will still be the fastest. First of its, so many things. But yeah, that's my last project.
I mean, we're going to point people towards all the links of how they can kind of keep track of you, stay up to speed. But if you were to kind of point people towards one thing where it feels like, that's where they'll either get the most out of or be able to kind of contribute the most, where would you point them?
Just to the foundation, because everything about me is giving back 100%. So, support us, through the endeavor, whatever you can. Every big or small thing means a huge to the people out there who has got less opportunity. So, yeah.
Nimsdai,
Thank you.
this has been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.